The flu couldn't keep a good man down. And the forces of nature couldn't keep this episode from finally coming to fruition. Welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle Podcast, episode 246 to be exact.
Rack them numbers up.
I'm your host, Charlie, with my best girlfriend, Melanie. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm well.
Right before the show, we was talking about me because I believe we mentioned that I got you, one of the things I got you for Christmas was the Ancestry DNA. So you got your results.
I got my results, and boy, first of all, I was not surprised. I knew that obviously being Dominican people are composed of Spanish ancestry because we were colonized by Spain, and a lot of African ancestry because of the American slave trade. So I'm not gonna go down the list because I have 16 ancestral traits or whatever, but I have 16 world regions. But basically, my top were Spain with 34%, I Benin and Togo 14%, which is a country in Africa, Portugal 12%. And I did the match of like our mix and match, or like I saw your results and mine and I compared, and I was just like, that is crazy that it's so similar, but like there's like sprinkles of different things. Like you had Puerto Rican and I had like native Dominican. I am 1% Ashkenazi Jew. Shalom bitches.
Same. Shalom.
Shalom bitches. I always knew that I was part Jewish, and basically when I like summed it all up, I'm 51% basically white European. If you mix that with Spanish, because Spain, people from Spain consider themselves to be European.
Yeah.
Um, and 42% African and 7% indigenous. So what can I say? I'm a cute mix.
Listen, all that hip hop culture stuff, I know it came from somewhere. I knew it.
I knew I was black. I knew I was always invited to the cookout.
And speaking of someone who's invited to the cookout
And sings in the cookouts.
and be invited to the cookout because of his smooth, cool vibe, but will also be, serenading us at the cookout. It's special guest. We've been waiting for this episode for a while, and good things come.
To those who wait and try again, in the words of Aaliyah.
Right? Here we are. Welcome back to the show. Here to talk his debut album, Out of My System. Welcome back, friend of the show, singer artist Jordan Kale. What's going on?
What's up, you guys? What's popping?
Hello.
Thank you too. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. No complaints. And if I had them, nobody would listen, right?
We will here at the Inner Circle. We definitely will. We was just talking about how the new year. You got the flu trying to take you down. The flu trying to take me down recently. Are you feeling much better? How the top of the year is treating you?
Well, yeah, the top of the year has been good. It started off, like you said, with some sickness. But I think, God in the universe was trying to prepare me for the new year and had to cleanse the old, right? I guess that's how I'm gonna look at it. Cause I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. So I'm glad to be moving around.
Listen, and we started out the new year because you just dropped last month in December, kind of going into the new year, your debut album, Out of My System. So let's just call it your new album that just came, because it just came out.
Yeah.
New year 2025, new album finally out. How does it feel? How are your nerves? Has it all settled? Are you how are you feeling with your baby basically being out for the world to see and dissect and speculate and all that good stuff?
I feel really good. I feel really relieved because I've been working on this project since 2020, and I've just been kind of going with the flow, creating it. But maybe the last 6 months of last year has been very like, oh, I just want to get this out. I want to get this out. But I'm glad that it's out. I'm getting some really good reception from people. Like I'm seeing my streaming numbers grow, so that's
I was
really
just
good.
gonna say that. I've seen the
So I'm
numbers.
excited. I'm glad that the music is resonating with everybody like it resonates with me. So
Oh yeah, there's a certain song that resonates with me. All right,
Come back.
we'll get into that song.
I want to acknowledge the fact that you just had not too recently, not too long ago, a performance at the Guild Theater. I don't,
hmm
is
hmm
it Po Hop? How do you say that? Like
yeah, Poha.
Po Hop. I
Poha.
wish I could have been there. I saw clips. You looked amazing. You
Thank
sounded
you.
amazing.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, congrats.
Thank you. That was my first show of the year, and I performed the whole album that night too. So that was really fun.
Nice.
And so, and speaking of performing, you perform your whole album. Is it scarier for you to release the music and have people listen to it, or perform the music in front of the crowd? Which one's more?
I would say the performing is more like where I get nervous more. It's a little bit of anxiousness because I'm always like, "Ooh, can we get to it?" But with me performing all the songs from the album, I do have a bit more of nerves because like I want to give people what they heard on the album and then a little bit more. I always like to do that because I looked up to a lot of artists who like like a Beyonce or like a Jasmine Sullivan or even Michael Jackson. What you get live is what you get on the CD. I just told my age on the CD. But when you go to the show, it's like they add a little extra breaks. There might be a dance break. There might be an extra riff or a run that they do. So I think it's more nerve wracking performing the new songs like in the beginning. But once I start performing them more, then it'll be like, I could do it in my sleep. Then it'll be more comfortable for me.
Now, you named the album Out of My System. This, for me, and again, depending on the person, could be interpreted many different ways. What was behind you naming the album Out of My System? Some people could assume, but, let's hear it from the artist's mouth themselves. Like, what was behind naming the album Out of My System? And it's also the opening intro to the album.
So out of my system, the title came to me um, just because I was just so anxious to get the music out, and I was so anxious to put the project together. The project had two iterations. So the first iteration in our last interview that we did when I was in LA, I mentioned some songs that didn't make the cut, and so once I finally found the right body of songs for this project, I was just like, okay, I got to get this out. I got to get this out of my system. Some of the songs are like older. A few of the songs I recorded in 2020. One of them I wrote in 2016, and then re-recorded. So it was just a lot of like ideas that I had harboring, and then the track list kind of tells the story of leaving an unhealthy situation and finding yourself again and finding love again. So it has like a double meaning.
I have a question about you. So you just said that you had a song that was like older from
hmm
2016.
hmm
Since you're a songwriter, I've always wanted to ask this to a songwriter. Do you find that there are times where you will write a song like back in the day? Because there's artists that say, like, oh, my first song was so corny. It was about liking a boy who didn't like me back or something. But then years later, it could be decades or a few years, like
hmm
it's still it's still like a banger, or like you rearrange it and it sounds just as good as like when you wrote it. Like, is there an expiration dates on songs?
No, There's no expiration date on songs. I have a lot of songs that I've like repurposed or maybe took a verse or a lyric or a line and put
Mm.
into a new song. Um, yeah, I feel like there's no expiration date. And then there's also those things as a songwriter, I may write something that when I write it, I'm writing it for me, but someone else may hear it and want the record, or I may give it to another artist and then it makes more sense for them, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, there's no expiration date at all.
awesome. Yeah, because I've always heard that like people will write a song and it will be like, oh, I wrote this in 2012 when I was going through this, and then this popular artist like just put it out on their album in 2020. I'm like, what? So that song was literally sitting there just
It'll evolve.
coding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I,
happens. It happens a lot.
Does it feel weird hearing other artists like songs that you wrote that maybe you gave to someone else or whatever, and then hearing them sing it, hearing them perform it? Is it weird for you? How,
do you
how is
judge
that?
them more?
No, no. I actually get more excited when I'm in that space. Like if I see someone performing a song that I wrote or singing to a beat that I produced, I get really, really excited. And most times when I work with artists who I'm writing for, I'm a part of like the vocal production and all of that kind of stuff. So I kind of help them bring out who they are. So when they perform it, it's totally different than how I sang it on the demo or in the studio for them. You know.
Right.
Mm.
I wonder,
No.
is there a song that you it's like a sample that you like will forever always like sing. Like for example, there's artists like in their shows. When we went to the Queens of R&B,
Hmm.
Maya sang Tevin Campbell's "Can We Talk,"
Mm,
Mm.
and I was like, first of all, I love that song, and there
yeah,
have been so many people that have like sampled that song and like like sang it. Is there a
yeah.
song from a famous artist or a popular singer that you feel like you could sing and you want to take the opportunity to sing and have it in your album in your next album?
Yes, for sure. There's a song that I do in every set, "Butterflies" by Michael Jackson.
I
That's a
knew it.
song that I always put it in my set. I
Love
love
that
the
song.
song. I had the CD when I was a kid. Uh,
Hmm.
so
Same.
that is a song. That's a song that I always put in my set that I really, really love. And I want to do a cover of it,
You
like
should, because
for an
I
album.
heard you singing it live and I was like, just I knew it was butterflies when you were just doing the melody. And I just found out like probably a year and a half ago that he didn't Michael Jackson did not write that song. Floetry wrote it.
Yes, yeah,
Well,
Marsha.
one of the girls from Floetry.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gagged.
Yeah, and she's singing the ad libs at the end too. I always thought it
Yeah.
was him until I saw her interview.
Yeah. I forgot her name, but she's British.
Marsha,
And
Marsha.
Marsha,
Marshall
yes.
Soldier. Isn't that the
Hmm.
same girl who sung "Cry Me a River"?
Yes,
Yes.
she was
Yeah,
the one that sang
yes.
Cry Me, Cry Me. I was mind blown.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was Justin this whole time.
Justin, you're a
Same.
damn liar. You're not
Same.
invited to the cookout.
Yeah.
Listen, and going back to the album, on "Come Through," you
Hmm.
have a lyric, and I hope I wrote it right. I want you in real time, not just FaceTime.
Mm.
And again, resonates with me because I'm someone who
Mm,
I can admit it. I am not a long distance relationship person. I cannot do it. I need like, you know, I could go days without seeing you, like let's say Monday through Friday type of thing,
Yeah.
but I really need to see you on the weekends or vice versa somehow, some way. Okay, not
Right.
just face.
Right. No, I agree.
So, writing that lyric. What it was it again personal? Like how is it something you went through? Like what exactly you know came out of that?
Um, yeah, it is something I went through. That song is more about like really coming out of like the puppy love phase, like when you guys are on FaceTime all the time. It could be long distance or it could be someone that you're just meeting like who lives near. But I've always been like I'm a FaceTime person, but if I'm really into a person, then I'm just like, okay, like let's like kick it for real, like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm a hopeless romantic too. So like in the beginning stages, I'm a very like we're on the phone a lot, we're on the
Right.
FaceTime a lot, and then once I get comfortable, then we can kick it more in person. But
Mm.
in that song, it's more of like, okay, like I want you here, like
Yeah.
let's, you know,
The
yeah,
next thing.
it's
You need
kind of
a
like a
human interaction, not like a technologic interaction.
exactly,
No pen pal.
exactly, exactly, and in chronologically speaking in the song, I mean in the track list, so all in my feelings is leaving a situation that you should have left, but then you're having like when you freshly break up with somebody, you have like those regrets, and then you
Mm.
start missing the person. So coming through is like that stage, like that last stage where you're like, okay, I'm missing this person, and then into the next record, I don't know why. Then you kind of come to your senses. You're like, okay, wait, no, like I don't know why I keep giving this situation hope. I know what the result's gonna be every
Mhm.
time. So no, let's snap out of it. you know.
Even over here, going back, I had it written next to, I don't know why, honest lyrics. That was my notes about it. And I love that you said that right now, because we all go through that. Like when yes, you leave a relationship, but then you keep going back and you're like, why do I keep going back? And like, how long am I gonna do this back and forth with until like you finally get it? It's like, no, that's it. And this
Mm.
Yeah.
is
You
like,
singing that song is basically what people, the thoughts people have that they don't want to say out loud,
Yeah.
because you're being vulnerable, saying like, I need to be done with this, but at the same time, am I like, you're second guessing yourself in a sense. And
Yeah.
I've been in that situation, but I feel like with me, it's not more so missing the person, it's missing what could have been or what should have
Yes.
been.
Yes. It's very much that's really where this album comes from. It's like just breaking up with the potential of what you think. Because sometimes we hold on to something, it could be a relationship, friendship, and we just have this vision for what we want it to be. But the reality is saying, like,
That's not
no,
it.
but you still want to hold on because of what you think. And sometimes,
yeah,
that's kind of selfish, it's just
yeah.
like if that person's not going to be that person, then, we're not God, we're not Jesus Christ or whoever. We can't make people do anything, you know?
Mm-hmm. The surrender the control, because
Yeah,
that's what it is sometimes too. Is the control part that we want to like
Not even
control.
that. Take things at face value. Like, don't fall in love
exactly.
with, like, don't romanticize scenarios.
Exactly.
Well, once you that's easier said than done when it's new. But once you've been in a relationship
Yes.
for a while, you're not romantic because you
There's the
already been.
comfortability piece.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get comfortable with the person, or you just get comfortable with being with someone too, you
yeah,
know? And then
yeah,
you don't, I mean, and sometimes it's, well, for some people it's they don't want to be alone, but for some it's not even not being alone. It's just like being used to having another person
yes,
and having to
yes.
accept the reality again, whether it's two
Mm.
years, 3 years later. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this on my own. I mean, I
Well,
could do it, but what?
I
Like,
feel like with me,
I'm loving this circle
I
chat right now.
yeah, I know you're loving it because it resonates. I think with me though, I've kind of like separated that mindset with how you being like missing being with someone, but knowing that the person was probably not good for you.
mhm.
I feel like I'm better off being by myself. I rather like mourn and be by myself than mourn and be with someone next to me.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
but
oh yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. For
Absolutely,
sure.
but it is those thoughts of like, damn, now I really have to. It's not necessarily like I'm sad or boo hoo hoo. I want this person back, because it
Mhm.
does come to a point where you're like, no, I know this is done and I'm done. But to
Yeah.
sit there and be like, oh, I'm perfectly clean. No, those thoughts like,
Yeah.
dang, X amount of years with this person. We did this. This was like our routine. And now to think like you said, you have to do it alone now, or
Yeah.
I'm also a hopeless romantic, and I'm an optimist and believe that that person will come into my life. But in the meantime, it's like now I got to do this all over again and the dating
Hmm.
thing again, and it's
That
like,
shit is exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you think all that, and you're like, oh fuck that, I'm just gonna be single for a while.
Right.
Hey,
um, but anyways, let's get. We usually have a segment called Ask Charlie, but we have some questions because it's
Okay.
the man of the hour. Ask Jordan. So I have a few questions for you, Jordan, that were sent in. First one being, what was one song on the album that we will be surprised, or any song that you wanted to include on the album but did not?
Um. Hmm. Wait. So, what's one song that didn't make the album?
Yes, that we will be surprised that you really wanted to make the album but did not make the album.
I have this record called 333 that I was gonna put on the album. It was supposed to be the last track, but I like decided the night before not to put it on. Um, but I would say, yeah, I would say that's the song. And I really like that song because it's like a very like self-empowering, motivating song. I am gonna release it this year. I just don't know when, but I am gonna release it
you
this
should
year.
do a deluxe album and release it.
Okay, you said it. You
I
said it.
think you should do it because you starting the song with all of my feelings and like basically having those not like those thoughts, vulnerable thoughts, and then you end it with
Mhm.
333. Come on, A&R.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll send it to you guys so you
Does that
guys.
happen often? Do you change your mind like I'm not gonna do this? Let me scrap this. Is that something that happens a lot?
Yes, 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 yes. That
I'm a
happens
creative.
a lot.
Mm,
Especially with this album, because like I said, there was a different iteration of the album. There were some songs that were on the first iteration of Out of My System, but there were some songs I did cut, and I was like, nah, I'll save that for later for another project. But yeah, that does happen for sure.
mm. Okay.
Another question: any songs where you have any collaborations?
Yes, I have two. I'm gonna start working on two remixes for two of the songs. I have some artists in mind that I want for those. So I'm already kind of thinking of doing like a deluxe situation with the remixes and with the 333 song. So yeah.
And one last question: is Mariah Carey a musical influence?
Yes, she is. She is. I love her so much.
Come on,
Um,
Lamb.
My favorite Mariah Carey album was Rainbow. That was like the first album that I myself connected with the whole project and was like, oh my gosh, like she's speaking to me. And I loved her writing style. That's one thing. Like I learned so many words from Mariah Carey because she has such an extensive vocabulary and she uses words that when you hear them like in talking form and you're thinking R&B, you're like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I could say that, but she like, I don't know how, but she gets these big words into songs, and I really love that. And I like her storytelling. One of my favorite written songs on the Rainbow album is "Cry Baby" with Snoop Dogg. I love
Mhm,
that song. I
mhm.
really, really loved how she wrote it. It felt like you were having a conversation with her. And yeah, yeah. So I love Mariah.
I need to see her in concert, but I'm
Me
afraid I'm gonna
too.
be disappointed.
Listen, I've seen her for her Christmas. I've seen her twice. One was a festival, and one was her Christmas show. And
I
she
wouldn't
was
go to the Christmas because I feel like that is like
it was
it doesn't give me the real Mariah Carey like discography.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I want to hear Dream Lover. I want to hear
Yes,
Break
I want to hear
That.
my all. I want to hear
Yes.
During the
everything.
Christmas show, she did perform like some of her hits. Not,
Oh, really?
obviously it was mostly Christmas, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to see. I
I
guess.
think I might make that happen. Watch, because I know she's in concert in next month, but we shall see. But
What?
I do want to say though,
Mhm.
Justice for Glitter, that album, I really liked the
Yes,
album.
the movie,
Really?
the
I
album,
love that
it was
movie and
so
I
great.
love the album.
The
Yep.
movie? Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, the movie was so
The
good. It's
movie
one
was
of
good.
my
I don't
favorites.
understand why y'all hating on it. Okay, so people don't hate on Gilly, but they hate on Glitter.
Who said no one hated
That's
on Geely? Geely who?
Geely was not it.
It was
But
not.
it was cute for the moment because they were a couple back then or whatever. But Glitter was really a good movie. And then Debrat was in it acting. She's a really good
Yes,
actress too. That was good.
she is.
That was a really good one.
The rat
Yeah.
tat tat. Jordan, what's one artist that you haven't seen in concert that you would love to see? Dead or alive, actually. Dead or alive. Obviously, you
Ooh.
can't see them if they're
Okay.
dead.
Can I do one dead and one alive?
Yes, give it to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with alive. Alive, I want to see Jasmine Sullivan. I have yet to see Jasmine Sullivan live. Um, and I would say dead. Ooh, I would love to see Michael Jackson, Prince, um,
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah for sure. I would have loved to see. Um, yeah, I'll go with those three.
I want to
Oh,
see
and I
Joy.
would love to see Phyllis Hyman too. I really love Phyllis Hyman's music. She has a beautiful voice.
She
Oh,
does.
and Whitney, hello.
Oh,
What?
duh.
Yeah,
Whitney.
I would have loved to meet Whitney. I just feel like she is so down to earth and like
Hmm.
we could have a really good conversation, some good laughs. Because as we see, she was very, very funny.
She was
So,
very funny, and also she was very sweet and uplifting to
mhm,
singers, to like up
yeah,
and coming singers and songwriters, which I love that about her. She was what, a
yeah,
Leo? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yep,
She
she
got that
was. She
Leo
was.
spice, okay.
I don't think
Um,
all Leos are bad.
No, Leos are good. Leos are good. Once you crack that shell, they're
Hmm.
great.
was there any song that did make the album that you were a little hesitant, like I shouldn't, I should, like nervous, like for people to hear lyric wise, content wise, what it was saying wise?
Um, I I would say
Did you get calls from people about comeback?
no, I really didn't. But that's actually one of the songs that people like a lot.
I love that
Um,
song.
It's my
I've
favorite.
heard a lot of people hit me about that song. A lot of people have hit me about I don't want to think about it too. Those two I get a lot of compliments on.
Mm,
But as far as the song I was nervous about, I would say IDKY. I was nervous
I
about
love
that,
that
not
song.
because of the content, but more so because it was like it's it's like produced in a peculiar way because it has like a lot of breaks and
Mm,
there's not like drums all the way through it. And I was just like, I really love this vibe, but I don't know if the people will connect to it because it is a little like slow and like it has a little vibe to it. But I got a lot of good comments on it. So um, I'm just learning to trust my gut because my gut was telling me to put it on there, but you know, the other
Follow
side of me like, I don't know.
follow your heart, your intuition, in the words of Drew, and follow your gut, because that other side that's like, maybe not, that's the inner saboteur, as
Yeah.
as Paul likes to call it. So like one thing I'm trying to teach myself is follow your initial gut, especially when it comes to your artistry. You being an
Yeah.
artist, and follow it, because a lot of the times you're right. Listen, the album, I have to give you your flowers. I've told you before, like it is great. It is great. The
Thank you.
production, even like we've spoken before, functions. The production's like top notch, especially listening to it on headphones, like excuse me, the
Mhm.
good headphones. Like you're like immersed. You know what I mean? And oftentimes indie artists don't get the flowers and the love and the respect for
Thank you.
the effort and the work that they put into their music. So Definitely want to give you your flowers. The album's amazing. And Melanie has a little game for you.
I have a
Okay.
little game, but before I start the game, I want to piggyback off of that conversation. Shout
Hmm.
out to your production team, your yeah, your engineers, sound engineers, and all that because they do the most work, but they don't get enough
Yeah,
recognition
they
because
don't.
yeah, the sound quality is great, the beats, everything.
Thank
Um,
you. Big shout out to really quick my engineer Christopher Elliott. He engineered the whole project, and the producers Julian Cannon produced Function. It's my brother. Kai on the beat, Chabal Beats, and Roman Austin, who produced All of My Feelings and IDKY. So shout out to all the producers. Oh, and LDV, and I produced Comeback myself. So shout out to all the producers and the writers. Day, she helped co-write some of the songs. So shout out to everybody who made this project happen.
For that, for
okay.
sure, for sure, because it takes a village. All talented people. Definitely shout out.
Mm.
Melody.
All right, so back to the songwriting.
Yeah.
This game is called Sing That Scenario. So obviously, as a songwriter, you have to think of like scenarios and things that resonate with you that make you write the song.
Mhm.
I'm list the songs from your new album out of my system that apply to each scenario I'm gonna go through.
Okay.
So the first scenario, falling in love or heartbreak, which song from the album applies to that scenario?
Um, for falling in love, I would say Function,
Mm,
because it's like that song is the epitome of falling in love on the dance floor to me, and like falling in love with the person after the first dance. Like I feel like that's very 90s. It's very 90s 80s. Like you meet this person, you're like, oh, okay, we're grooving together, wow, I really like this person. Like before the social media, I wanted to capture that.
mm,
I would say for heartbreak, I would say for heartbreak would be all in my feelings.
right.
Because I referenced the Kanye West 808s and heartbreak. So
Mm. And Drake.
and Drake.
Um, okay, next scenario is longing for someone.
Longing for someone would be coming through.
Yes, I
Coming
wrote
through.
that. I wrote down the songs I felt resonated. I just want to see
Yeah.
if we're compatible. Um, okay, so the next scenario is overcoming feelings
Overcoming feelings. That would be I don't want to think about it. And it would be come back too.
and out of my system.
Yes, and out of my feelings, out of my system.
Yep.
Yes, those three songs for sure. Those three
Okay.
songs.
The next scenario is celebrating a victory. This is a little, this one was kind of like, I had to think about it. And I put don't want to think about it as a song because you're
Yeah, I would
celebrating
say.
the idea of you're not like engaging in that feeling.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that because it's like you're you're finally putting or you're finally deading something that's not healthy, and sometimes you have to transform into another person and transform to a higher version of yourself and become stronger and not let the old energies that aren't good for you in. So that's a victory because that's hard.
right.
you know so
All right, two more. Reminiscing about the past.
reminiscing about the past would be all in my feelings because there's elements of that like where you're reminiscing on how things used to be with the person and just second guessing your choice of leaving the person. So yeah, I would say that.
Got it. All right, the last one, and this is one of my favorite songs, but what scenario goes with self reflection?
Self-reflection would be, I would say, IDKY.
Yes, that's what I had too.
Why?
See, we right here. We see each
Yeah,
other.
we see each other.
Okay, Ray and Nini. That was a fun game. That was a fun game. Now, Jordan, what could we 2025 just started? Like we said at the top of the show, you've had some shows performing. What could we, the people listening, expect for the year of Jordan Kale? What could we expect this year from you?
For the year of Jordan Kale, you can definitely expect more shows. I have a show January 24th at this restaurant called Creole Soul out here in Sacramento with Day. I'm opening up for her at her show. And then I'm doing a So Far Sound show in Oakland. I'm really excited about that. That's on January 31st. And I have another show in March in Sacramento with Out the Way on Jay as well. But so more shows, more visuals, more music. I'm going to be dropping another project outside of like some remixes and some additional tracks to out of my system. Um, I'm going to drop another project. So you'll get a lot of music, a lot of visuals, and more shows. Hopefully in other states.
I was gonna say, let's manifest you up over here in the East Coast in New
Yes,
York. I could definitely visualize you already somewhere at a nice little spot by spot. Me
Terminal
and Mel
5,
definitely
Webster
there.
Hall, Brooklyn Bowl. Like, yes.
yes,
Brooklyn,
yes. East
yeah.
We're
Coast,
manifesting that for you
East
because people love
Coast. Because
to see it.
I'm gonna be out there with my hat. I'm gonna wear this hat. I'm gonna have a little
Look,
puff
I was
coat,
inspired, honey.
fork on.
We'll be right there supporting you when you're over here in New York. So, where could we have the people follow you? I know on the ticker, if you are watching us, if you're a visual person, you're watching us on the ticker. It's there, your IG. But where could the people follow, support you, all that good stuff?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jordan Kale, JordanKale_. You can follow me on Facebook, Jordan Kale. I don't know if we really losing TikTok tomorrow or not. I
I
don't know
hope
how true
not.
that is, but
I love
I hope
TikTok.
not. But for these next couple hours, you can follow me on TikTok. It's I'm Jordan Kale. I am JordanKale. I do a lot of funny videos on there too. Um, so yeah, I enjoy TikTok. I hope we don't lose
I
TikTok.
hope we don't. I love TikTok. That's where I get all my like
Never got into it, but I may
everything.
just do one video for today.
Yeah, you should.
Oh,
It's super fun.
little
It's
dance video. Well, we want to thank you so much, Jordan, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on and chopping it up with you.
I
Always a
love
good
you
time.
guys.
Please support our guy, Jordan Kale. His album, Out of My System, his debut album, is now streaming everywhere where you get your music. If you are in California, check the man out. Follow him, support. We thank you so much for tuning in, for joining us, Jordan. Melanie, love you. We will see you guys next week. Same place, same time. Adios.
Peace. Love you guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, everything the Inner Circle podcast, and catch us every Wednesday live at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook.